what happens with Josh Gordon. But smoke or fire, the whole Santonio Holmes, that was somebody that I mentioned. They went with Miles Austin in the offseason, but that was somebody that I thought would be in the Browns' sights if they needed to replace Josh Gordon. That name coming back out. What are your thoughts? Where does Santonio end up playing some football?
Well, it's a concern. I think the health there is obviously, because if you talk about the reputation Santonio Holmes, Super Bowl MVP, he played at a very high level for the Steelers and Jets at times, and he's not, he doesn't have a job as we speak today. I think that speaks volumes.
Oh, yeah.
About where he is physically, because this is a guy who's certainly proved he can do it at the NFL level when he was healthy. So obviously, you're talking about teams that are desperate at the wide receiver position, and you're going to look at a name like that and say, wow, maybe he can help if he's got something left. And obviously the Bears, who lost Marquez Wilson this week to a fractured clavicle, they need a third receiver behind Marshall and Jeffrey there. They worked them out, and the Browns, obviously, if they're going to lose Josh Gordon, whether it's 8 games, whether it's a year, there's some issues there, because there's not a lot of proven players on that team, and if you look at the proven players, the guys who've succeeded at the NFL level, it's guys on the downside, like Miles Austin, as you mentioned, Nate Burleson on the downside. Andrew Hawkins, more of a slot receiver to me. And then you start getting into the guys that have no resume whatsoever. So you have to do your due diligence. But to me, the fact that Santonio Holmes isn't on the team today tells you all you need to know as far as his ability physically.
Well, when the Browns went with Miles Austin over him in the offseason, that said something to me there. Like you said, some of the other teams looking for wide receivers, too. I know Mary Kay Cabot tweeted out that the Browns apparently at least say they're not interested. I think that they would have been, but I think they're mildly encouraged. And I've seen him. I mean, I can tell you that at least now. Now, it's another thing when you pull a hamstring in week 2, but Miles Austin has at least shown that he has got himself back. Maybe not at the highest level he was at, but he's definitely got himself back in the discussion of kind of being what he was before, at least until something happens injury-wise, because that's what you hold your breath for with Miles Austin.
Yeah, I lost some of his juice, and I think that's a concern. That's a concern with any receiver that's got mileage on his. It's the same thing with Holmes when he had the Liz Frank injury. He was never the same after that. In Miles Austin's case, he's a very productive receiver for years in Dallas, and all of a sudden lost that extra gear. So those are the types of positions you see at running back also, where guys just fall off a table. Remember Sean Alexander, how dominant he was out in Seattle, and all of a sudden, boom, nothing. And it happens time and time again with skill position people. In the National Football League, and I think that's a good example of two guys, but I think there's a better chance for Miles Austin to bounce back than Santonio Holmes.
For sure. And again, encouraging early results here. We'll see what happens when he's out there playing, full speed week in and week out. But I didn't think he was going to, I'll be honest, 2 months ago before camp, I didn't think Miles Austin was going to make the final roster, but I definitely think that barring an injury in the preseason, I think it's a foregone conclusion that that's out of the way now. He will.
Oh, I think he's going to start.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He went the opposite way with it, because I wasn't sure. But, yeah, he's definitely grabbed his opportunity here so far.
Yeah, and, unfortunately, glass half full, glass half empty. I'm not necessarily sure that's a good thing for the Cleveland Browns. And that's why it's so important to have Josh Gordon on the field in a football sense. But again, I think sometimes you have to look at things more than one step down the line, look at things 2 or 3 steps down the line. And I think while it would obviously be good to have Josh Gordon on the field for some games this season, I'm not necessarily sure that helps the team long term as far as getting him healthy, as far as getting him help, as far as getting him for a career, 7 or 8 years. I think maybe you want to give up this year if you can get a guy, if you can get a Chris Carter type outcome, as I said before, I think that's the most desirous scenario when you talk about Josh Gordon. And I'm not sure getting him on the field this year helps, but from a purely football standpoint, yeah, I mean, they desperately need him because there's no answers at the wide receiver position.
Last question, since you just kind of brought this up, I have one more for you. Because I believe firmly that getting Josh Gordon back for part of this season also changes the quarterback discussion going into week 1 as well. Because let's use the 8 game because it's a nice, easy half of the season. If I'm knowing that getting him back in mid-season, perhaps that changes the plan for how we're going to win this year, how many games we're going to win. Maybe I aim for the wild card and making a run in the second half. Then I'm not so quick to say, let's throw the rookie out there. If he makes some mistakes, it's okay. Perhaps that changes my thought, too, between trying to compete this year and trying to compete while getting ready for next year. Do you think Gordon changes that, too? Because if you get him back in mid-season, he's such a weapon that he will change the offense the second half.
Oh, yeah. I mean, from a purely football standpoint, you saw last year when he was suspended for the 2 games. The minute he comes back, the entire offense changed. And that's the kind of impact he has on the field because you basically have to give him extra attention. That's going to open things up and it did last year for Jordan Cameron. We talk about Hawkins, as an outside receiver, I don't like him that much. But as a slot guy, with Josh Gordon, on the outside, then all of a sudden he could be a difference maker because he's very good inside, very good from the slot, as I said. So it impacts the team on so many levels. If Miles Austin and Nate Burleson, whoever is on the other side, all of a sudden they're more impactful because neither of those guys at this stage of their career is going to be able to beat a double team, but they're never going to see one. If Josh Gordon's on the field. So it helps the team on so many levels from a pure football standpoint. But we have to talk about it realistically and the fact that how long is that going to last? Yep. If he doesn't understand, he has to change some things in his life.
We'll have to see. That's the question, the ultimate question of all that. John McMullen, a lengthy conversation today, man, hitting all this stuff going on with the Browns and the NFL. Thank you so much for taking some time with us, and we'll see. Now some games are getting played. Now the training camp kind of part is over. Now we're into the week-to-week preparation of preseason and building for the regular season. So a little different dynamic for the next few weeks. We'll start to see how a lot of these position battles around the NFL shakes out.
Yeah, we finally get to see some games, and that's the exciting part of it. And we'll start to clear some of these things up.
All right, John, thank you so much for being with us. We'll catch up next week.
Hey, thanks, man.
Thank you. My man, John McMullen from the Sports Network. We're going to take a break. When we come back, got all kinds of stuff in the news to touch on. Biogenesis. Did I tell you guys? Call me Karnak, man, because I saw it coming a mile away. We'll talk about the latest in the news, get you set for the tribe, and so much more. Final segment of the Sports Fix coming up. Don't go anywhere. Still plenty Sports Fix to come.
Public service announcement from the Sports Fix. We here at the Sports Fix and our affiliates would like to apologize for any disturbing verbal actions, but remember, it's better having them trapped in a box than loose on the streets. Public service announcement from the Sports Fix. The Sports Fix, the sports show that cares.
Guys, want to take just a second as we head into this break and remind you about the official business printing source of the Sports Fix, our friends at Signs and Ship. Signs and Ship, I'm telling you, Chris and Pam, they've taken care of me since day one, and they can do the same for you. Whether you're a small business that's already been established and you're looking to grow to that next level and expand your business, or perhaps you've got an idea that you just know is going to be a great business and you need to figure out how to brand it and how to promote it and put it out there, Signs and Ship is the place for you. If you need a logo, they can create one for you. They have a fantastic graphic designer. Business cards, signs, banners, yard signs, mobile advertising, anything you can think of that you need to promote your business, they've got it at Signs and Ship. The best thing about them, too, is each of their locations, whether it's the home base here in Elyria, Ohio that I work with, or their spots in Virginia, Florida, and Pennsylvania, it's all local sourced. Very important to me because we all understand that small business is the lifeblood of the community. So check them out, signsandship.com, or call Chris and Pam today, 440-323-6060, the home office in Elyria, Ohio. Signs and Ship, quality printing at affordable prices.
It's the Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
Indians fans, GV Art and Design has unleashed their new baseball collection. This summer, you've got to have one of the hottest baseball shirts available. Indians themes, GV Art has them covered from top to bottom. Chief Wahoo, keep the Chief, one of the hottest sellers going today. GV Artwork, knocking it out of the park, teaming up with Michael Brantley to create a custom Dr. Smooth t-shirt, bringing back an old classic. GV Artwork, bringing out the wild thing. Give them the heater design. The Cleveland That I Glove collection continues to grow. New designs for women and so much more. GVArtwork.com, bringing it full force to the plate for baseball season this year. Whether you check them out online, GVArtwork.com, use the sales code FIX10, FIX10 to save 10% on your total purchase. Whether you go to their store in Lakewood, check them out at the Cleveland Indians team shops around Progressive Field, and so much more. GV Art and Design. It's not just a shirt, it's a statement.
Sports Fix listeners, like us on Facebook today. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix.
I've been a pro wrestler my whole life, so championship belts have always kind of been a way of life to me. But did you know title belts are quickly becoming the fastest rising and the most popular new way for people to celebrate all kinds of things you never would have thought of before? We use it for our fantasy football league. It's a really cool conversation piece. Office pools, employee of the month, you name it. There's tons of different trophies that you used to buy plaques for. Well, I'm here to tell you about Pro-Am Championship belts, who have the highest quality championship belt with the lowest prices. Replace those old trophies with stock belts on hand that they can customize for as low as $30. Any occasion, celebrations, awards, championships, fantasy leagues, gifts, plus wrestling, mixed martial arts, boxing. If you need championship belts, check them out. Pro-Am Championship Belts, ProAmBelts.com. Look them up on Facebook, Pro-Am Belts. Trust me, nothing says cool like doing the discount double check with a real championship belt. Just ask Aaron Rodgers. Now you too can have one thanks to Pro-Am Championship Belts.
Hi, this is CJ Miles of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Howdy, partner.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix, wrapping things up. Final segment here on the Sports Fix Radio Network. J-Rock back with you. Thanks again to my man John McMullen from the Sports Network. A great conversation, hitting on the Browns, NFL, all of that going on. It all rolls into the beginning of the preseason this weekend, man. 216-539-7535. I'll open up the phone lines for a couple of minutes. 216-539-7535. Hit me up on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Tweet with me at The Sports Fix, CLE. Email me, The Sports Fix at AOL.com. Not just now, but throughout the night, whatever time you're listening to the show. Let me know you're listening. Let me know what you think. I love to keep it going 24/7 with you guys. Man, what is up? We talked about it. I mean, obviously huge in the news with Ray Rice and Greg Hardy. What is with the domestic violence just continuing with these athletes? Greg Oden, former Ohio State Buckeye, former #1 draft pick and Miami Heat player last year, and somebody we talked about a lot in his talks of perhaps coming to play here with the Cavs, arrested for early this morning, actually, in the wee hours of the night. Apparently punched his girlfriend. I don't know if it's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, is according to the police reports, punched her in the face and admitted it to the police. There's not a lot of doubt about this one. He admitted to the police what he did, allegedly told police officers that the incident got out of control. He was having an argument, and while others tried to hold him back, the